Welcome to Swifties at Midnight.
We're Anne.
And Steffanie, and we're so excited to have you join us. We're here to keep you in the lavender haze with the latest updates in Taylor's world and discuss the amazing love, light, and poetry she brings to all of us. Make sure to stay by subscribing, and don't forget to share with all your fellow Swiftie friends. Hello.
Hi.
Hey. How are you?
Good. I'm really excited about today's episode. For once, we actually have the main content already recorded, and we're coming back to record the news.
And the reason is because we have our very first guest.
Yes.
Yes! We had the pleasure of having my really good friend Evi Figgat here on the podcast. And she is just overall awesome. 20 degrees of
Coolness.
coolness. Yes.
Intelligence.
Yeah, I love her so much. And one of the greatest things about Evie is that she is a very hardcore Swiftie. And so we brought her onto the podcast, and um, Anne having a master's in English and Evie having a master's in English, I knew we had to bring them together and talk about uh, the evolution of Taylor's writing over the years. And it was such a fun episode. Yeah.
It I I wish I had a master's in English. I have a bachelor's in theater.
See, I should have asked you to give me your stats because I made Evie give me her stats because I knew I was going to mess them up. And
No,
that
you're
is proof.
fine. I am an aspiring master's in English person. See, I don't have a master's in English, but I have a bachelor's in arts, so specifically in theater arts. So I have a lot to say about Taylor's writing. So yes,
Yes.
we discussed Taylor's writing and how it matured throughout the years and kind of the twists and turns that she took. So stick around and listen to us talk about that. In the meantime, we are just going to give you guys a quick update on Swiftie news because we have so much content, but we can absolutely not giving you
Cannot.
a double negative about not talk about Taylor appearing at Tight End University,
Oh
which I
my
had no idea existed
gosh.
until, these past few weeks here.
Yeah, I didn't know
Steffanie,
either.
what is Tight End University?
Oh, you're asking the
I can
resident
tell you what
football
I
expert?
extrapolated that it is. Um, it appears that Tight End University is some kind of event that happens hosted by Travis Kelce, which is like some kind of party. That's Travis's position that he plays on the Kansas City Chiefs. And it seemed to be like some kind of party concert type thing. And it was at least 2 days, right?
I believe it
Some
was
kind of event. 3 days?
3 days. And there was actual like tight end like education going on one of the days.
Okay.
I think the
So a
second
conference
day,
per se?
yeah, yeah. The second day, I believe, is the day they had the parties, and that's where
Okay.
the real excitement began. They had a concert titled, it was like Travis Kelce and Friends.
That's cute.
Is that right?
I don't
The
know.
Oh, I think that's what they titled the like night event because they had a concert. They had a lineup of singers, and near the end of the lineup, we got a huge surprise. We knew we knew Miss Swift was in the building. We
Hmm.
seen her come in earlier for the earlier events in the day. in her beautiful green plaid set that I am obsessed with and I need to have
It's
it.
very
Can
cute.
somebody please sew it for me so I don't have to pay the whatever $5,000? I actually think it's sold out anyway. I found
Oh
it
yeah.
and
Anything
went to
Taylor
go look
wears
for
is
it. But
then
yeah,
sold out shortly after.
um, I like need that set.
It's cute.
It's so cute. And I would wear that in real life. Um, anyway, and then for the concert later that night, she came back. She was in the crowd. She was dancing. She was drinking. She was having a great time. She was in
She
this
was
little
taking
black dress.
selfies and videos with
Yes.
people. She was jamming to her own songs with other people. There are so many videos of people just hanging out with her,
Yes.
singing Romeo and Juliet. She was just
Yes.
looking so cute.
That is that little clip of her and that guy singing Love Story.
Oh
And
yeah,
she's
Romeo and
like,
Juliet love
"Oh,
story.
it's in there. It's in
But
there.
yeah, this
Romeo and Juliet."
specifically the part that says Romeo and Juliet.
Yes. And she's just like screaming it like she's at her own freaking concert. It was so amazing.
It was really cute.
So cute. And yeah, I had heard that the tickets to go to that were only $30. And she was not on the lineup. Let's be really clear. She was not on the lineup. She was not announced anywhere. And so a lot of Swifties, this was in Nashville, Tennessee. A lot of Swifties in the area were just like, oh my gosh, it's a Travis Kelce event. I'm going to get a ticket for that. I'm going to go. And they got the biggest surprise of their life. Taylor, as a last minute decision, she even announced it, um, worked with Kane Brown and decided that she should get on stage and sing Shake It Off, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Shake It Off.
Shake
And
It Off.
she even, it was so last minute that she even hand wrote out the chords for them.
Yes. Yeah. There's a piece of paper somebody took a picture of. She hand wrote all the chords for the band, and Kane gave her a guitar. And yeah, then she started, she did a little impromptu acoustic set of Shake It Off, which I never have heard before, and I loved it so much. It was so
It was
great.
so cute.
So cute. I watched videos of that over and over and over
Hmm.
again, and
All the
there are a
Swifties
lot
are
of
out
them.
here like, I needed this.
We didn't know, but we really did. No, we knew. We knew we needed
Mhm.
just a mini concert. And a year prior to that, she was on stage at the Eras
Yeah.
tour. And it's been a long time since she's performed on a stage. So we were so excited for her
Yeah,
to get up
speaking
there
of
and
the
do
Eras
that.
tour, Taylor's team, which, you know, pretty much Taylor, bought the um the balloons for the Eras tour that say like the Eras tour. So I don't know if it was like Taylor's idea and then she reached out to her team and said, "Hey, can you make sure that these balloons that were on the front of, I think they were on the front of every stadium starting with either
New Orleans.
Was it New Orleans?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if that was either Taylor's idea or maybe Taylor's team was like, "Hey, do you want us to buy these?" But whoever spearheaded that idea, they were bought for $13,000 and acquired for Taylor. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was really cute. Taylor loves
So
him that much.
cute. I know. Where is she going to put those? No, I think it was. No, I was reading something else that was talking to an old article about where it was going to go. But yeah, where is she going to put those giant friendship bracelets? It's so cute to watch back, like just her calling them out at each of the
Hmm.
Eras tours that she was at, or that the balloons were at. She noticed them. We know she noticed them and thought they were a pretty big deal. So I love that she bought them. Um, and we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll change the letters for the next tour.
Hmm. The Eras tour too. I'm excited.
TTPD is also four letters like eras. It could be the TTPD tour.
Mm.
I wish. I know we already got the TTPD tour,
Yeah.
but
And then kind of just the little last bit of news is that Taylor and Travis were out in New York just late last week. They were seen just out leaving a restaurant, and as we know now, when Taylor is seen, it's generally because she wants to be, because if she
yeah.
doesn't want to be seen, she pretty much
Hmm.
knows how to not be seen because
Yeah.
she swung that for a long time. Taylor was wearing the most gorgeous
Oh,
pink and white, kind of tweedy gingham dress, and her hair was just kind of straight and like maybe was it like
I
half
think she had
down,
the half up with the
half up, half
bangs. She does that a
down.
lot. Yeah.
She looked so elegant.
So pretty. Yeah.
And I love this new era of Taylor is not afraid to be seen anymore.
Yep. Yep. It's
It
so
makes me happy.
refreshing just to see she's clearly happy. Travis is just there,
They're
ready to
flexing in
just
all
take
their
it on. Oh my
pictures
gosh,
and
yeah. At the Tight End University pictures at the end of the night.
they're just
Oh, one thing
goofy.
I was gonna say about
Mm.
her getting on the stage, it was near the end. I think there was only I saw the set list and I can't quite recall who was all on it, but she was near the end. And so, she had been drinking all night. There was definitely drinks in her hand all night. And so I'm sure that was part of the
hmm
influence to get up on stage and be loose and have fun.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And then,
Taylor
yeah,
with a drink,
the,
being like, wouldn't it be funny if I just got on stage?
yeah.
Oh,
Anyway, we just are so happy for her. She's just in this fun, refreshing era right now
yeah.
and wearing freaking plaid to everything.
What
So,
does it mean?
what does it mean? What does it mean, Taylor?
We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, shall we get on to the main topic?
Yep. Here we
All
go.
right, let's skip ahead to it. All right, so today we have a guest. Stephanie, you
Our
want to go ahead and introduce?
Yeah, it's our very, very first guest. Somebody I love with all my freaking heart. Um, it's Evi Figgat, and she is just like a gem, and I'm so excited to share her with all of you guys. Um, I knew Evie was a big Swiftie. There's two people that I texted or had been texting. I think Evie texted me when Taylor bought all her masters back, and it was Anne and Evie, and I was just talking to you guys about it. So we're so excited to have our very first Swiftie guest on here, and I want to tell you a little bit about Evie. I can tell you all the like amazing things that I know about Evie. First, we met at my house, right? That's the first time I met you, right? When you came to my house
Yep.
and she helped me clean up after an event. She
Oh,
stayed and cleaned up after the event. Everybody else left, and Evie was just there doing my dishes and cleaning counters and helping me put food away. And literally, we had just met that day. Um, that's one of the main things that I love about Evie. She's very intelligent, very what's that word when you're like can see both sides super well? I don't
Um, Open-minded? Are you trying to say
this
open-minded?
is not what this is why I'm not the English major in this group. It is not me. It is this one and this one. And
subjective?
I don't know if where how I'm Brady bunching in Zoom, but yeah. Anyway, just diplomatic. Is that a
Mm,
go? Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
sure.
diplomatic, very just I feel like you can always see where I'm coming from and where everybody else is coming from and like bring it all together in a beautiful way. But I asked Evie to share with me like I don't know, stats, I guess, if you will, like the things you worked really hard for in your life and why we wanted to bring you here, not only because you're a hardcore Swiftie, which we'll get you a shirt that says hardcore Swiftie, um, but because you understand writing really well. And just like Anne does, Anne is a writer. She's an English major. She does it for a living as well as you. And I just thought I gotta bring these two people together. And anyway, let's I asked you to tell me these things because I was going to screw them up, even though I'm sure you've told me over the many years that I've known you.
The things that I'm like, I don't advertise these things because it makes me sound super pretentious, but these are, yes, the things that I've worked.
No, but I was telling my husband these things and he was like, "Excuse me, what? That's amazing." And it is amazing. Abby graduated top of her class for both undergraduate and graduate. She has a master's in English with a master's certifications in professional and technical writing. She taught as an adjunct professor for 9 years, and I will never be able to say that word, adjunct.
You
Oh,
already
Got it.
said
Got it. Good job.
created it. I don't know. She has ghostwritten 3 full-length books, many blogs, emails, social, and so many more. I know she's helping a good friend of ours write a cookbook right now. She's been an editor for many big published books. Um, sorry, I'm bumping the mic. Um, and yeah, you have some other projects too, right? Don't you, aren't you helping
Yeah.
another one of our friends write something? Or am I?
I'm helping, yeah, another friend work on another cookbook.
Oh,
Um, and then another friend that I'm like editing just like this book that we're hoping to pitch to some publishers soon.
cool.
So
Fantastic.
yeah, super
Amazing.
fun.
That's awesome. Um, So, yeah, we're so happy you're here. I'm so happy to bring you on, and you're the perfect first guest. We're gonna let Anne kind of run this conversation because she knows what she's talking about, and I don't.
Yes, you do.
You
JK,
do.
JK. I love you both so much.
Love you. Well, what we really wanted to bring everyone here together today to talk to about today is Taylor's writing style as she matured throughout the years and how her writing style matured. Uh, we got to watch her grow up from this sweet little teenager who experienced heartbreak seemingly over and over again, into this mature poet in her latest album. And from the beginning in her debut album, we can see Taylor use references to uh, very straightforward narratives in her songs. It's very beginning, middle, and end. Um,
Yeah.
I like to think of Taylor's albums in kind of chunks in in regards to the writing styles. And Debut and Fearless for me are really have a very similar writing style as she came into her own. Uh, and while Debut definitely has some of the, I wouldn't say weakest writing, it has, it definitely has some of the most raw, maybe uncontained feelings that she has in there, like Cold as You, for example. Um, Tim McGraw, Our Song, they're all it's a very straightforward narrative that really is, you just feel this little teenager in there that
Yeah.
you you really relate to. And I think that was what was such a strong pull for a lot of people, a lot of young girls. When this is a question for both of you.
Yeah.
When you're listening to Debut, what is that song that you hear that really kind of tugs at the heartstrings of little Evie or little Steffanie? Like, what gets you?
It's interesting you ask that because just as I was going through just looking at the song titles in each album, like prepping for this, I was thinking about how these were coming out. So like having been a kid, I was around the same age as Taylor when these were all coming out. And the thing that really stuck out to me was like 15 or because I was 15 about to turn 16 when that song came out. And it's just little things like that. So I love song because I was dated way too many boys in high school. Um like all of those, it felt very aligned with where I was at and the way that I viewed the world. But I think 15 and like that to me, I mean, Tim McGraw too. I mean, all of them, like Love Story, Tim McGraw, um, all of those are pretty essential for me when I think back to that, like where I was at when those were coming out. Now, as an adult, um, they're a little bit, I don't relate to them as much, in terms of like our song. Like I'm like, yes, there's like bits and pieces of it, like remembering back to when I was dating, but I feel like I relate way more now to her later albums.
I love that your cat is having her little moment right
Oh,
Uh-huh.
you have to
Yeah,
have the
when
cat
that's like
join
the cat is not supposed to be on the counters or the table.
you.
That's cool.
now. She knows that you can't yell at her right now.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. So funny.
Yeah, I would say it, I was a couple years older, so I
Yeah.
feel like I was like out of the more like heart-wrenching, like dramatic teenager stage.
Yeah.
Um, and I really didn't know Taylor Swift songs until probably I was married. Um, but I really connected with our song for some reason. I just
Yeah.
so fun. It's one of the first ones that I ever learned all the words to, and I still know all the words to it.
Yeah.
Um, our song for sure. Tim McGraw is probably one of the only country singers that I will claim that I really love, and I've seen him in concert, and just he's so great.
Yeah.
Because I grew up listening to his music, and so I can kind of relate to that. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, she kind of was on that same level of where she grew up listening to him, like he's important, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I
Like
I definitely
Mm.
teardrops on my guitar. We've talked about that one before, Steph, where it's like
yeah,
that also was like one of those where it's like really angsty,
very angsty. That was the word
but
I was looking for. Yeah.
yeah, but at the same time, it's like, okay, we all have that ex, right?
Mhm.
So I also like super duper love that song as well. But like what you were saying, and where it's like it's very I feel like I'm reading her diary with
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
this
exactly
album
it.
and
Her
also
teenage
Fearless.
diary.
Yeah, her
Mhm.
teenage angsty diary where like her happiest moments are and her her lowest moments. And I feel like a lot of them are centered around like falling in love and heartbreak and like those like relationships and figuring it out. And I know that she's gotten a lot of crap for that over the years, but the reality is any teenager
She was a
at that
teenage
point in
girl.
their life, that's what they're focused on. They
Yeah.
Yeah.
so yeah,
And
I
I think to be
love
fair, there's plenty of songs on the debut album that aren't about a boy-girl relationship.
yes,
There
Mhm.
yes,
are plenty. I
yeah,
mean, even I would say, well, 15 isn't on debut, but even
no,
15, not really. Like it's about
yeah,
the rite of passage of being a teenager,
Yeah.
not necessarily about one specific relationship. So,
Yes.
Mhm.
yeah, I know her big popular songs were about relationships, and that's why she got crap about it, but she's written
Well,
so
that's
many other
because they're the
songs,
ones that
even in the
stick with
beginning.
you.
It's
I
true.
Yes.
feel like even though, so Debut and Fearless, for me, they have similar writing styles,
Yeah.
and I feel like Fearless is a little more evolved, but they
It's
have,
getting there for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's really worked on her
I'm with you. I
craft.
feel like they're like besties. They're not, but like I feel like those two for sure clump together. But
Yeah.
there is evolution between
For
debut.
sure. She started to evolve a little bit. But you have Taylor starting to work in some literary references like Romeo
Yeah.
and Juliet and the
Yeah.
Scarlet Letter
Yeah.
and things like that. But then we move on to Speak Now, which I really love because she famously wrote all of that.
Yes.
Every single word,
Yeah.
and that must have been such a challenge. And I mean, I don't nowadays who writes every single song on their own album.
Yeah.
Every so many albums are so overproduced. So
Hmm.
to have Taylor was what, like 21, 20 at the time.
Yeah.
Um
Like to come, she was 20 when she wrote them, and it came out when she was 21.
mhm. To write things like Dear John, Mean, I love
Oh,
Mean
Mean is my
Mm.
so
favorite.
much,
That one.
Long Live.
Yeah.
They she really
Mm.
started to respond to the industry and the things that she was experiencing from this standpoint of, oh, I'm famous, or the things that I am experiencing because I'm famous. And she started speaking out about that, both the joyful things like Long Live,
Yeah.
but also the things that she experienced like Mean and her relationship with
Yeah.
John Mayer,
Yeah.
things like that, that really she's not been afraid to talk about those things, even
Yeah.
if they've been raw. I think we have her mom to thank for that. Andrea
Yeah.
said, "Why don't you go ahead and write that out in a song?" And I
Yeah.
think her parents have been a big influence on her, especially
Well,
Andrea.
and even it's like the first album where we really get a sense of more complicated and nuanced emotions, like with Back to December, where
Mm.
it's talking about that experience of like, oh crap, I messed up, like in this like
Mhm.
Yeah.
sense of regret,
Yeah.
which we really hadn't gotten a lot of until that point where it was just explicit, like I messed up. And we get more
Yeah.
of that like as her albums go on. But I
Mhm.
feel like that is one where Back to December is just such a well-written song. And it's been one of the more famous ones off of that album, but for good
Mhm.
reason.
Mhm. We love someone who's self-aware.
Yeah.
And one thing about growing up is being self-aware. And that is a really hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
And Speak Now is just full of these moments of, oh wow, that's really deep for someone your age. I was not
Mhm.
that smart when I was 20, or that emotionally intelligent, because we do see a lot of emotional intelligence in Speak Now.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
I
she
agree.
had to grow up so fast. She,
Yeah.
from the age of like 11, was like trying really hard to make this whole
Mhm.
thing happen. Like
Yeah.
she was just working since she was 11 to make her dream come true. So she definitely had to experience a lot of things really fast.
Yeah.
And I love that she has the writing outlet to do that in. So
Yep.
Mhm. Then we move on to Red, which I feel like was a really interesting transitional time.
yeah,
And it's it has this kind of cognitive dissonance of somebody who has this big internal shift that they're working through. And I think what we have to attribute there is Taylor trying to appease her country crowd, but also really wanting to explore pop. And we hear that in the music, but we also get that in the lyrics of songs that get really deep, like Girl at Home, um, Forever Winter. That's a really hard one.
Yeah.
Actually, Red is full of just heartbreak.
There's
Ronan,
a lot
All
of
Too
heartbreak in
Well.
A lot. It's a sad, I honestly, I'm like, it's kind of a sad album in general, where it's like,
It kind of is.
Mhm.
girl, like, I'm glad that you had this writing to help you work through it. But it's really like this coming of age. Like there's subtleties of like, I don't know, we have these like little jumps with the first few albums, but this is the one where I'm like, okay, this is where she's really like stepping into her own and being like, okay, I'm like, I know I'm on the
Mhm.
precipice of something. Like I know that there's this big shift happening in me, and like recognizing this the really hard crap, but then this is like Red had to happen
Mhm.
so that we could get 1989.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think she could have ever jumped from Speak Now to 1989, especially writing wise.
Mm-mm. Thank goodness for 22 in that album because that's a real palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Uh, it's like this little
I mean, we've got the
flip.
cute like stay, stay, stay,
Hmm.
Yes.
and begin again is kind of a cute one
Hmm.
too.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're all so sad.
They're sad.
Hmm.
We don't even need to talk about Ronan. Ooh,
No.
yeah, so
No, that
sorry.
one wrecks me. I cannot even
It's a
think
skip for
about it.
me.
I
I'm
think I've
so
listened to that
sorry.
once in
Oh, that one's rough.
total.
That said, I'm like, I don't know if we consider like Taylor's version of Red, but that's where I'm like the 10-minute version of All Too Well. I mean, the extra writing that we got with the
Mm.
10-minute version too, I'm like, oh, that was worth the wait. And I'm so glad. I hate that she didn't get to give us that from the get-go,
Mm.
but there's something so cathartic and healing in listening to the
Oh
10-minute
yeah.
version. And I'm like, oh,
All
take me
the
to church, Taylor.
imagery, a
Yeah.
crumpled piece of paper, like I
Yes.
feel that in my soul, or a soldier returning half your
Oh,
weight.
Yeah.
That experience of just like you have gone through so much in a relationship that you feel like you have gone to war and come back and you are exhausted. You just feel that in your soul. That is the only song that I cried to when I was at the Eras tour, and it's
I'm impressed that you made it through the Eras tour only crying in one song because I'm pretty sure I was a mess. I had glitter all in the wrong places by the end. So
I was
hats off
screaming
to
through
you.
all the other ones, but that one I didn't even sing along
Oh,
except for I did scream fuck the patriarchy.
oh, absolutely. As you
But
must.
but I that one I just kind of sat there and just like let the tears fall. But that song just has such beautiful
Yeah,
visual imagery.
it truly does.
It's perfect.
she
It's
literally
absolutely
walks us
perfect.
through an entire relationship and like
Yes.
beautifully mm, creates the visual for the whole thing. Like you can see them walking through the door at his sister's house and like
Yes.
driving in the car,
But and
singing,
I'm
not
glad
paying
you bring
attention
that
to
up,
the
Steph,
road. Yeah.
because it's like it's still a different, like comparing, going back to what Anne stated, where it's like it's a different storytelling strategy than like our song, right? On debut, where it's
Yeah.
like, yes, she's giving us the picture versus I feel like by that point, like when we got All Too Well, it's more of like alluding to points in the relationship. And it's our job as a listener to like really take all that and paint the picture ourselves, which I love. And I feel like that's like a really good, just like a form of storytelling in and of itself.
Hmm.
Don't even get me started on the music video that we got with that, like that re-release.
The
So,
short film. Yeah.
oh, So good.
So good.
Beautiful. And then we move on and we get just the party in an album that is
Yeah.
1989.
Yeah.
And it just from the beginning, it's just like you get welcomed into it with Welcome to New York.
Yeah.
And it's like this big welcome mat of let's come in. Like you have the Lover House, but maybe you need the 1989 house, right? And it's like a
Yeah.
big 1989 party, right? Because you have all these different tracks that
Yeah.
even when the subject matter is sad, it's still kind of like a party. Like Out of the
Yeah.
Woods is still a
That's a
bop.
bop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like all you had to do was stay. Like,
Yeah. The lyrics are
like
gut-wrenching.
but
Uh
it's a bop. It's just
yeah.
great.
Yeah, and
Let's
it's such a
vibe.
good device to use.
Yes.
'Cause sometimes you don't even realize what you're saying because you're saying it
Yeah.
with a smile. You're singing it with a
Yes.
smile.
Which part of me wonders, I'm like, was this the beginning of like the mentality where she's like, I can do it with a broken heart? Like, where it's like these poppy songs, but also super kind of messed up.
hmm Well, it's so
I love
interesting.
it.
And I know everybody dismisses Taylor's writing in 1989, and it is not her strongest, but I think her heart is definitely in it.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
Excuse me. No, I'm just kidding. Some of the
I'm like, New
greatest,
Romantics. Come on now. The lyrics in
hmm
that one, I'm
yes,
just like, I love,
some of
love,
the
love.
greatest bridges come out of
Yes.
1989. So
Yes.
I don't know if I agree.
Which, I mean, let's be real, people can be absolutely wrong, but it's like, I don't know, like New
Yeah.
Romantics, the line where it's like, I could build a castle out of all the bricks they
Mm.
threw at me. Like, come on.
Hmm.
Like, that is so good. Yeah, I'm with you. Anyone that's saying that is just wrong.
It's very undercover because
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
the like the whole thing of like where say you don't understand her lyrics without saying you don't understand her lyrics.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
a Taylor Swift song comes on and people are like, ugh, I hate this song. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Because she says that word out of the woods like 500 times. Is that why? Did you listen to the rest of it? Like,
But at the same time, too, it's like, okay, that's one of the oldest devices in literary
exactly.
history. It's like creating this parallelism
Mm,
where it's like we're going to repeat it over and over until you feel it. Like being like, no, this is my emphasis. So even from a writing standpoint, there is a place for repetition. So I I feel like I disagree with that one too. Every
yeah.
phrase that's out of the woods, I'm like, nope, that belongs there.
Yeah.
I'm like, chant it for me more, Taylor. It's cool.
You know what that made me think of is just our kids asking, are we there yet? Are we there
Out
yet?
of the
Are we there yet? She wants to know if we're out of the woods yet. Okay.
Yeah, which I'm
Out
like,
of the Woods has the
if you've
best
ever
writing.
been in like a hard relationship and it's like this hard season where it's like, okay, but are we good now? Are we actually good now? Like, please tell me if we're good.
Yeah.
So I almost like feel it's like this sense of like begging, like this vulnerability for her to like continuously repeat it.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
I love Out of the Woods.
But yeah, 1989, she was in I would say, a good place in her life. She had the Girl Squad, the
Yeah.
famous Girl Squad, and was just living her life away from home in New
And
York,
even the boys that she was dating
reinventing
at the
herself.
time, you could tell she was dating them because it was fun and they were
Yeah,
having fun together.
100%.
So yeah, like in terms of what was happening for her, I'm right there with you. Like it was a good chapter for her. And I'm glad that it like came out as like I love 1989. And it's my daughter's favorite album. So I'm like, hey, I have more happy core memories with my people, like dancing to 1989 and with like singing it with my daughter. Like Wildest Dreams is her favorite song to sing and is you have not lived
Oh.
until you've heard a 4-year-old sing Wildest Dreams.
Oh,
So I'm like, no, I I love the writing in that one. Like I'm glad that we have 1989 to be that. Just like when you're in the there's a mood for like there's an album for every mood, right? Like
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
just
So true.
Oh, speaking of moods, then we move
yeah.
on to Reputation,
Oh, that
which
was
is a whole mood.
whole mood.
Reputation is my favorite album to
Love
dance
rap.
to.
Yeah.
I love dancing to 1989, but there's
Yeah.
something about Reputation now, and it has a good number of
Yeah.
it has this really good mix of of songs to dance to, but also just to like, I don't know, slow dance to.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I love Delicate's my favorite song
Oh, I
on
love
that
Doug.
album by far. But it has this darkness that nobody knew that Taylor even had.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We had such an intense shift from 1989 to Reputation. Like,
But dude, like the life, like the lore that led us to that point, I'm like, yeah, girl, go dark. Like, like, yeah, let it out, man. Like, I feel like it was beyond justified, but yeah, the shift is wild.
Oh yeah, and it's it is covered by such beautiful messages of just I am who I am,
Yeah.
and
Well, I
that's
mean,
it.
like, we, it's like maybe, I feel like Ready for It is, yeah, Ready for It's the first song on that album.
Mhm.
But I feel like if you listen to it and you like reach song, it's like probably about halfway. I should honestly just look it up. But Look What You Made Me Do, where it's like it was so intentional the way that she like dropped that album. Because it's like,
oh, oh,
if you remember, she blacked out all of her social media, which at that point, that
hmm
was still in the era where we had been up until she kind of had to like slowly back off, which I love the old school like T Swift YouTube
Oh
videos.
my
And
gosh,
like,
yeah.
I'm so sad that those had to stop.
I know.
And it was just like, she was like, oh, you're saying I'm going dark? Well, this is dark. And she just like blacked everything out. And then it was like, I kind of like, I wish that it would have gone on the album like Ready for It and then Look What You Made Me Do
Mm,
because there's this like very intentional misdirection, like announcing the reinvention and Look What You Made Me Do. Because it's like, oh, the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. Like, and it's like in this like really upbeat voice. And then all of a sudden it's like, why? Oh, because she's dead. Like the fact that she's just like, so one, back to the self-awareness,
yeah.
but two, like the level of intention that went into this album is I feel like unmatched in terms of like from a marketing standpoint, from the wording standpoint. I I part of me I'm like glad that we'll never have a Taylor's version of this album because I feel like this is the one where this gave her the grit coming out of this season to be like, you know what? F you. Like this is my life, this is my music, and you don't get to dictate to me how we do this. Like I feel like so many of the songs point to that vibe and that mindset shift as well.
Mhm. At the same time, there's also this beautiful love story running underneath it.
I was
Yes.
just gonna ask, how do you guys feel about everybody saying this is actually the Lover album?
I I like it. I just not the way that I interpreted it when it came out.
Hmm, hmm.
100%. She put a whole mood, a whole vibe around it, around how she released it. She
Yeah.
changed her hair and what she was wearing, and we got
Yeah.
Bleachella out of it.
Hmm.
I mean, like
We got
Gorgeous on this album.
yeah, but
Getaway
then there's
Car.
all these like
Yeah.
really awesome love songs because she was in this really intense relationship too that she was
Hmm.
doing good in.
Yeah.
Dress, Dancing with Their Hands Tied, Here to
Yeah.
Stay,
Mhm.
King of My Heart.
Endgame.
Oh, King of
Hmm.
Heart.
And it's not the obvious thing that she pitched because I think it was much more personal to her.
Yeah.
And so it didn't. it didn't come off as the selling point. But it's so funny that it was this kind of flop for her.
Yeah,
Um,
she was robbed. I'm,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
they were wrong.
In her documentary, Miss Americana, it
Yeah.
just broke my heart when she said, I just have to make a better record." It's like
I
you
know,
know
it made me
you
so
don't.
sad because I'm like,
It's
I
not your
love it.
fault.
I know. And
What a retribution for her though to
Hmm.
come back now and say, I don't need to make a different
yeah,
reputation. How
yeah.
cool is that?
That said, I'm waiting for like those other tracks that
We
we
still need the
know are.
vault tracks,
Oh yeah.
duh. Because
Yes.
there's more that came out of this perfect album, and
Oh
why
yeah,
don't we have it? Yeah.
agreed.
And then of course we have massive vibe shifts to
Yeah.
Lover.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have to wonder what brought that on. But in in terms of her writing style, it became um softer and more introspective, I think.
Yeah.
And we have things like the song Lover and The Archer, whose themes are very different, but
Yeah.
have a similar kind of soft.
Yeah. Like Cornelia Street too, like where they're all, I
Hmm.
get what you're trying. I'm like, I'm having a hard time putting it into words, but I totally follow where, yeah, it's just more.
It's just like I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. Just
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah. Yep.
And I just need to lay things bare. And The Archer is really a
Oh, yeah.
vulnerable song.
Yeah.
And again, more with these devices of instead of just right out saying like I I am too much and not enough all at the same time, she says,
Yep.
I've been the archer and I've been the prey. She uses this
Yeah.
device that we can all understand of she knows what it's like to feel being hunted and being the hunter, you know? So
Yeah.
it's
Well, and it's like
it's
that internal conflict that she's sharing with us. Like it's no longer in her earlier albums, I feel like there's this external conflict, right? Like
mhm.
you belong with me, where it's like she's cheer captain and I'm on the bleachers, right? Like versus Archer, we get lyrics like, I wake in the night, I pace like a ghost, right? Like it's more of like this internal, which I feel like as we grow up, though that's more along the lines of what someone would write from a more mature standpoint.
Yes, that's a great point. There's a lot of internal conflict
Yeah.
in Lover, and we see that throughout the album Death by a Thousand Cuts.
Yep.
Just every little thing that you do. And I love that saying. When people use it at work, the people will be like, "Oh, this project is it's really difficult because it's one thing after another. It's like death by a thousand cuts," and I'll be like, Taylor
There's yep. Yep.
Or as Drew famously said, death by a thousand kites.
Swift.
I love that. That's really cute.
That is really cute.
But yeah, that I love Death by a Thousand Cuts, but
Yeah.
you're right. It's like all these tiny little things that you kept doing. It was
Mhm.
like killing me slowly.
All right, so from Lover, we move on to another big shift, which is Folklore.
Yep.
Now, this had a lot of factors. One being Taylor was shut up in her house with a lot to do, but this had a huge shift in how Taylor wrote, massively. One of the reasons being that she took a very different approach writing from the fact that she wrote storytelling in a way that she had never written before, from points of view that she had never written before things like Betty from the point of view of a stupid 17-year-old boy.
Anne's least favorite song on the album.
Really.
I hate James. There's nothing redeemable.
She did her job, was to make her
She really did. Taylor really got inside the head of a 17-year-old boy and wrote that
yeah.
song so well. But she has like half the songs or more are just written from the points of view of somebody that is just not Taylor, but she does such a fantastic job. Uh, the things like, again, Betty, Seven, although that kind of has some of Taylor being in the trees of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Um, the Illicit Affair, Epiphany, all these songs that are just things that Taylor has never done. Um, Epiphany is an extremely underrated song,
It is an
uh,
intense song.
Yeah.
especially for the time that it came out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I just know that there are healthcare workers out there who are appreciative of the the parallels drawn between going to war and being on the front lines of the pandemic. I think that song was just so timely. But
Yeah.
really, folklore is full of these beautifully written songs
Mm.
that were not created for the mainstream, but the people that connect to them, me,
Yeah.
and so many people,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
really pull such meaning out of them.
Yeah. No, and I feel like especially my favorite song on that album is This Is Me Trying.
Mhm.
Ugh,
And when it came out, like the things that were happening in my life personally, like we had hard times at the beginning of the pandemic. We closed on our first home while my daughter was hospitalized and like for lack of like better way to say it, like dying at the time. And so I just was like an absolute mess. And it was like 6 months of being a mess. And then this album came out and like the This Is Me Trying. I have connected with a lot of Taylor Swift songs, but I feel like that song in particular for me on that album at that time was just like I felt like it encapsulated well. I feel like even though like we had this like hugely traumatic thing happen to us in 2020 as a family, I don't know anyone that didn't experience some level of trauma from that
Mhm.
year just being what it was and having these trauma responses and having that song to just be like, hey husband, I don't know how to tell you what's going on with me right now, but here's some Taylor Swift lyrics.
I
I
have
just
done
like I
that.
loved it so much. Where I'm like, I'm trying, but my words right now, like especially there's a line in there. Oh gosh, let's see if I can like pull it up. It's like talking about like how her words come out when she's mad.
Hmm.
I just was
My
like,
words shoot
oh
to kill when I'm mad. There's a
yes.
lot
And
of
where I was just
things I
like,
regret
I'm
about that.
yeah, and it just
Yeah.
was like
yeah.
that song in particular. I mean, there's so many on there where you could tell, like, there's some that I feel like were coming more from her, and then others where she's doing
Hmm.
this third person storytelling.
Hmm.
Um, that is just both writing wise, it is just absolutely
Right.
beautiful.
And well,
Just so great at encapsulating the human experience, even if it wasn't necessarily her human experience.
exactly. And well, it it's not to say that it is her story, but we write from our own experiences. So she could have felt
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
even if it is somebody else's
Yeah.
story.
You
Yeah.
know so much of like Invisible String and Cardigan and the one those have notes of Taylor's lives and
Hmm.
Oh,
her
yeah.
relationships. Absolutely. So like not all of them
100%.
are about others' lives, but she just wrote things from the perspective of other
Hmm.
people. Yeah. I don't know how she
Yeah.
did it, but she wrote the music we all needed. And it
Yeah.
wasn't her normal Taylor Swift style
Oh
at
gosh,
all.
not at all.
Not,
Initially,
it
I
was nothing
actually
like
didn't.
anything she did.
Yeah, initially I didn't love this album. I'm not gonna lie.
Me
That's
I
what
neither.
like the
everybody
first or second
said.
time I listened to it, I'm like, what the frick is this? And then by the third, I was like, no longer just
Oh,
listening to the sound of
what the
it.
frick is this?
Yeah. And then I'm like reading the lyrics along with it. I'm like, oh my
Mm,
gosh, like it was a huge pivot for her, but it has become one of my favorite albums to just chill to, like have it on in the background when I'm driving, or like, hey, I'm feeling a little bit like melancholy today. Just
mhm.
I in general, the writing in this, like I mean, I love Betty, but I know that you know.
I do too.
But in general, like, and a lot of people hate Exile too, which we got on this one.
Love Exile.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
Exile, in terms of like, even from a writing standpoint in music, where it's like, we have these longer lines to it, and it's not like more less conventional timing to things that
Hmm.
stress the lyrics more in a way that it gives you an opportunity to take them in, which she's done a lot of really great collaborations, but that's, I think, in my top three for sure, that I really, really enjoyed.
No,
Yeah.
Exile is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me move on to Evermore,
Yes.
which is so similar. The albums are sisters
Yeah.
and is so often overlooked because it's overshadowed by folklore,
Yeah.
but it has some of the most beautiful gems.
Yeah.
Willow, Champagne Problems, um, Cowboy Like
Tolerate it.
Me, Tolerate It.
Oh, tolerate it.
Tolerate it.
Oh, I mean, Champagne Problems, like in terms
Mm.
of like the poetry in that song too. I don't know what, like, I'm sure we could look it up, but I don't know what like the top song off of this album is, but it would not shock me if it's Champagne Problems.
The double meanings in Champagne Problems are so good, like the um till someone's on his knees,
Yeah.
meaning he
Proposal or
proposal
begging.
but also begging. That's some of
Yeah.
my favorite writing that she ever
Hmm.
did. Um and of course, Marjorie is something that a lot of people relate to.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody who's ever had somebody that they love pass away, it
I mean,
just
and if we're
always hits
talking
you.
like emotional moments during the Eras tour, for
Hmm.
me, Marjorie got me good, really good.
Oh yeah.
It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful song. And the meaning behind it is just
Hmm.
the way that she does the meaning justice with the words that she chose. And
Oh
it's so
yeah.
emotional, but each word is just perfectly crafted.
The the words in Marjorie that really get to me are um should have kept every store receipt because every scrap of you would be taken from me.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think of when I
It's
think
so
of
brutal.
Marjorie.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's just in general song, man. Again, I just opened it so I could like quickly like look at the lyrics, and I'm just like, oh, this came out the year after my grandma died. Like my like I remember crying to it when I listened to it for the first time and reading it back again. I'm like, oh gosh, like
Oh.
I'm not sure if I'm ready to even reread it. Like, but I love listening to it. It's so beautiful.
I love the way she just talks about how she was as a child and kind of her perspective of being a child with this grandmother figure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, she's like, we went swimming and I complained the whole way there.
Hmm.
But I shouldn't have done that. I should have asked you questions. I should have learned more about you.
Yeah.
But you don't think about that as a kid. And
No.
it's like this beautiful moment of again introspection.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Which Taylor is so good. I think one of one of Taylor Swift's most beautifully written songs is on this album. And I know it's not one of your favorites, Steffanie, but Ivy.
Mm.
I think it has some of the most beautiful imagery that you really have to think about to really decipher the exact meaning because it has so many deep layers to it. It's almost like this like Emily Dickinson type
Yeah.
novel feel to it. I
Very
love it.
gothic level,
Yes,
like Victorian gothic. Yeah, I totally agree.
I love Ivy for that. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's so I love it. I don't love the necessarily the sound of it 100% of the time, but the lyrics in it are stellar.
Mm, they're heart-wrenching. I love it so
Yeah.
I need to
much.
give it more of a chance.
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't.
Read
I
the
will.
lyrics as you
I
listen to
will.
it.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I need to do that.
yeah. One song that I don't really understand the hate for, and maybe it's because I relate to it too much, but a lot of people really don't like Closure. I've just had this exact situation happen to me, and so when I heard this song, I was like, yeah. I don't need your closure. I don't need you to send some, it wasn't a letter,
Mhm.
some text being like, "Hey, I'm sorry. This whole situation happened to me, but I love closure. I just think it's just like this whole anthem of like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
doing fine." And yeah, I love closure, but so many
Yeah.
people rank it as like their least favorite song on
What?
this
Oh, I
album.
like it a lot
I
because
love
it's just
closure.
I I don't know. I feel like it's to me it's relatable as well, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I there's not really any song on here where I skip on this album.
Hmm.
I really enjoy this one in general.
Oh yeah, and again, it's got beautiful imagery, but it's also kind of like casual. That one of my favorite lines from this song are, I'm fine with my spite and my tears and my beers and my candles." And I just kind of imagine her like sitting in the bath with just like a beer
That's
and
so
like a
perfect.
candle, just like listening to some music. Just
Yep.
like, I'm
Living her
fine.
best
I
life.
don't know
No
about
doubt.
you.
Yep.
Love it for her.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
Then we move on to Midnights. Just
Oh,
another,
my favorite album.
it's it is again a party, but then it's like, why do you have to rip my heart out?
The
Yeah.
songs are so sad or just so intense with the
Yes.
words and the it's not in the music. It
No.
is all the words. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the night that it came out, I mean, I stayed up and I insisted on like having my headphones charged. And I remember like putting them on and listening to the album in entirety,
Yes.
but then going back and listening to Maroon. I think I listened to it on
Mm,
repeat like 6 times because that's one where I'm like the really like bassy vibe to it mixed with the lyrics. I think that might be one of my favorite like Taylor songs in general, like across
Wow.
all of her albums. Um, and I don't know, it is so the album in general is so good, you guys. I don't even know how to express
It's
it
Midnights
because
is a whole thing. It's like a whole package that you can just be like, here,
yeah,
listen to this right now. Like
yes.
I get
mhm,
into midnight moods where I'm like, I just need to listen to Midnights right now. All the
Mhm.
other Taylor stuff can sit here for a second. Me and
Yes.
Midnights need our moment. Yeah. It's
oh
again, it's
yes.
a whole other vibe.
Yeah.
There musically, there's notes of what she was doing with Evermore and Folklore. There is a little bit of that mixed in with the pop, the more like electronic pop vibes. Not electronic pop, but like the
Synth pop.
synth pop. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, more synth pop, but calmer.
yeah.
Yeah, she kind of made her own thing by kind of mixing everything that she loves into this album. And then, yeah, and then gave us devastating lyrics. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can
Which
we talk about Anti-Hero?
Oh,
oh gosh, right?
every woman can relate to that song. Like we all have
Yeah.
insecurities and we all feel like either we're invisible or we're too much.
Oh,
And like,
or to sing. Like
or
it's like
yes.
this like level of exposure, right? Where that's
Yeah.
where I'm just, I mean, in general, like I feel like it was so telling of where Taylor was, especially at that time. And you have to kind of wonder where it's like, where was she at in her relationship with Joe as she was writing this? Like, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, and maybe you guys will know better than I, but if there's been any interviews on this at all, but I just was, it felt like half of it was during the breakdown and then a little bit of it with
Mm.
the breakup. And I feel like there's notes of both in there.
I think it was like Taylor knew, and it was a lot of denial in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the end of their relationship was really like super up and down
Mhm.
for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Before
Because we got You're
before
Losing
it.
Me out of the 3 a.m. trial song.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
we,
mean, we can just refer back to You're Losing Me
yeah.
and we would know. But one of the biggest things about Antihero for me when I heard it and I really started listening to the words is just her admittal of these mental health issues, right? Like
Yeah.
she has insecurities, she has depression, she has anxiety. Like she's calling it out in this
Oh,
song
like
and then
the
giving it
line you,
imagery.
Oh,
oh, like the particular line when she's like, did you hear my covert narcissism?
Like
I
disguises
disguises
altruism.
altruism. I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah.
so doing good. Like it is so beautifully woven, but at the same time, like what modern day girly hasn't like Googled like, am I a narcissist? Or like looked at
hmm.
specific traits where
Yes.
it's like, oh my gosh, am I the problem? Like so like when like hearing her like her writing there where I'm like, oh girl, like you're not a narcissist. Do I know it personally? She could be a narcissist, but I choose to believe that my Taylor is Saint Taylor and she is I don't think that she is a narcissist for the record. But like just the fact that she's, in her head, like this song is very much like exposing the narrative that this woman has had to live with in her head and like have to just like set it aside. And we know like from her intro to it's like, hey, these are the stories of sleepless nights, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so for her just to be like, just walk us through this kind of like the where she's spinning out, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
like totally mentally crashing out, being like, but it's in such a way where it's so poppy and such like just one
It's
of those
me.
songs.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something happened to her in her childhood and her early life that cut her deep, that made her think that she
Mm.
wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
she had to
Well,
tightly control her image.
and it's like even going back to like she has been at this since 11 years old. Like
Hmm.
think about I have a 10-year-old son. Steph, like you have and I don't know how old your
He's 11. He's about to be 12, but
yeah,
uh,
like your stepkids are, but
11 and
oh, and
13.
yeah,
oh, see,
sorry.
then yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Then that's where I'm just like, I like think about what that would do to a child to get like, here's my heart on a little like mixtape CD, like taking it in and then being like, no, over and over and over. Cause like we
Yeah.
have the lore of like her mom taking her up to Nashville, right? Like, so that's where I'm just like, that would mess with a kid 1,000%, like in
Mhm.
that developmental stage. Like my kid would never recover fully, knowing how he is. And I like reading the lyrics, like I'm only cryptic and Machiavellian because I care.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's coming from the place of like, I'm not trying to be manipulative. I just like, I'm trying to like, I care
Mhm.
so much that this is like, I'm just trying to figure out how to get us there. Right.
Mhm.
And I'm like, yeah, I agree. Like something happened in that girl's childhood where it's like, whether it was necessarily like the 11-year-old thing or something that was like earlier, I just feel like it's one of those circumstances where like there's definite trauma. This girl is packing so much trauma. And she really needs a hug at all times. Like I'm like, someone needs to go hug Taylor, make sure like she's told that she's beautiful and wonderful and we adore her. Like,
Yes.
is she getting that on a daily basis? Because someone needs to hug Mama Taylor.
I'm pretty sure that is what Andrea Swift is there for. I
Good.
remember near the end of the Eras tour, there's this video. It was probably, I think, the last night of Toronto or around there.
Yeah.
And there was this video that somebody took of Taylor running off stage right into her mother's arms. And everybody was like, that hug was longer than usual. And she must have been so tired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so sweet.
it
Their
It is
is.
really
relationship is
sweet.
so cute.
Mhm.
Well, moving on to the Tortured Poets department.
Yes.
Where we are actively calling ourselves a poet. It's about damn time.
Mhm. Yep, it has been earned.
Oh, yes.
It has. Now, Taylor, her her sophistication really shone through in this, but it was also it's this her raw emotion that you got in the first album has been refined down into these sharp words that like sometimes the people that she wants to hurt might not even necessarily understand them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Looking
and
at you,
not
Maddie
even,
Healy.
oh goodness. And she doesn't even necessarily want to hurt people all the time. Sometimes she just, perhaps, this is my theory, wants to get those feelings out because holding something in is too painful. And that is what music is for, I think.
Yeah.
When you're watching a
Yeah.
musical, right? When people break out into song, it's the point where you can no longer get your point across by speaking. You have to start singing. And that's what a
Yes.
song is.
Yeah.
No, and I feel like especially with the Black Dog on this album, where it's like that is her like, I'm just trying to get these like words out. Like I feel like that is like one of her bigger processing songs
Oh yeah.
on
Yeah.
this album. Um, and it's like I mean, location finding wasn't a thing when I was dating.
Oh my
Oh,
But I just
gosh.
like
thank
the
goodness.
fact where she's like, "Hey, you forgot to turn off your location," and I noticed you were there, and it like took me back to these memories. It's just like so real and raw of where she was at as she was writing it. And the part in the song where it's like old habits die screaming and like the music builds with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is like emotion, like probably one of like the more emotional aspects on this album where she just like lets it out. Um, and it's so beautifully written and raw.
Mm.
Um, but it's also one of those where when I looked it up, I'm like, why don't people love this one more? Like I love that song. It's
That's
so
so funny you say that because I had been seeing people talk about it, being like, the Black Dog is so underrated. And I was like,
it is.
is it? I need to go listen to that again. I need to go
That's
like
another one,
study
Steph.
that song.
Listen
No,
and
I
repeat.
know now.
Yeah,
I did. Now I love it.
it's
It's
so good.
so good. And I love how like the very first few things that she says are like not quite a complete sentence. And then she like
Yeah.
rolls into
No,
another
that's a
sentence because
really
she's
good
just like
observation.
trying to
Mhm.
get that emotion. Like I don't know
Yeah,
how to
it's like
say it
she
because that's
does
how I
that
talk.
in Seven. Please picture
Mm,
Mm,
me in the trees.
yes.
I hit my
yeah.
peak at 7 feet. It has a certain
Yeah.
name. I can't remember it though. I love it when she does that.
I do too.
But the Black Dog for me, it's so Alanis Morissette, and
That's
I
so
Oh
love
my
true.
that.
It
gosh, yeah.
is. It totally is. It's so good.
Definitely my top song lyrically is How Did It End?
Mm.
Mm.
It's so good and it gets me every time. It's
Oh,
so
Oh,
so good.
heart-wrenching.
back to the visual imagery.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It paints a beautiful picture.
Of death.
Oh,
Hmm.
the death rattle.
Yeah.
feverishly talking to their cousins and because she paints that picture, she sets the scene, and then you just imagine this whole thing of like somebody going to the store and they're like, "Oh, I heard what happened." And you just like you don't even want to leave your house because you don't want to deal with these vultures who just want to pick at your life.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
what does she say? The empathetic hunger
Hunger.
descends.
Well, and I love that it's like this is clearly about a breakup and like the loss of a love story and the fact that it also, but it's like it never once explicitly says that.
Hmm.
All indirect storytelling
Yeah.
again. There was never a time where I read it where I thought it was actually about, or like listened to it and thought, oh, this is about an actual death. Like it was
Hmm.
very masterfully written in terms of creating this metaphor.
Hmm. Using the term post-mortem was genius.
Oh, so good.
And that was
So good.
the clue that we all had to figure out in
Yeah.
the lyrics. And when I was like, what song is that in? And it came up on this one, I was like, we're talking about postmortem and the death rattle and what? This was kind of weird. But now I'm like, whoa. Yeah, she just painted this absolute beautiful
Yeah.
tale of how did it end? And she's still so confused. How did it end? And everybody else wants to know. And she's just still trying to figure out
Yep.
how yeah, she can't pretend like she understands because
Yep.
Hmm.
she doesn't get it. She's so confused. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we're going to talk about literature in Taylor's writing, we got to talk about the albatross.
Oh, I thought you were
Oh,
gonna say Cassandra.
Oh, I mean Cassandra too. Um, but I mean, I was so excited about the albatross when I saw that on the track
You
listing.
knew. I remember you called it. You knew what it was about.
And I was just like, oh, it's like an albatross around your neck. And I was like, what is this going to be about? And it is really heart-wrenching to hear Taylor write this song comparing herself to like this giant weight in somebody's life, right? Like that's got to be really hard. Uh,
Mm.
because an albatross is a harbinger of death and bad things to come. And so I feel like Taylor must have that conversation with people who are romantically interested in her. Like, hey, I'm going to make your life a lot harder. Can you
Mm.
deal with that? I,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, and the
it's,
fact that like the timing of it, again, I'm like, gosh, I want like a play by play of like in your writing notebook, what day was this written?
hmm.
What was
Hmm.
happening?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I I'm with you on that where I'm like, she must be having those conversations. But then we get to have like the whole Travis arc now where it's like
Hmm.
the redemptive arc where he gladly takes upon this like
Right,
albatross, right? Where he's like, no, like I
It's
want
not a
you,
burden.
all of you.
right.
Yeah.
Or
It's
did
so cool.
Joe tell her that she was an albatross?
Hmm.
Or I feel like I'm not a
Is
Joe
he smart enough to
hater.
say that though?
I
Let's
don't know
be
that he said it ever, but he sure made her feel
Made her
like
feel
it.
like it. Yeah, like
honest.
things
We
like
saw. Yeah.
sneaking around wearing
Yeah.
wigs,
Yeah.
like all
Yeah.
these things. And Travis is just so excited to be seen with Taylor.
Yeah.
He'll do
Yeah.
Yeah.
anything with her.
Yep.
And I love that for her.
Agreed. So
Yeah.
fun.
Another fun, just lyric one is I'm gonna get you back. I just
Yeah.
love how it's like, well, it's either gonna be, I'm gonna kill you or we're gonna go back to my house and have fun. Like, I'm gonna be your wife or I'm gonna smash up your bike. Like, I'm
Yeah,
I'm gonna get you back. And I
Yeah.
don't know how that's gonna play out. I
it
just thought
really
it's
paints
just a
this
fun one.
picture of like one of those rom-coms where two people are like yelling at each other and they're like this close and this close. They're like, are they gonna kiss? Are they gonna kiss? Are they gonna smack?
Mhm.
What I
Yes,
really love about I'm Gonna Get You Back is how it's written all together. It's all one word. I'm gonna get you back.
I'm gonna get you
And
back.
like the song is really fast,
Hmm.
or at least parts of it are really fast.
My
And
husband
so,
pointed something out.
uh-huh.
We saw an Aston Martin in Utah the other
Oh,
day. we were like,
Fancy.
whoa, it's an Aston Martin. That just doesn't happen around here. And I was starting to sing. I was like, "Yeah, I'm an Aston Martin." And he was like, "What?" I'm like, "It's a Taylor Swift lyric." He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, is that because she dated that race car driver?" And I was like, "Oh,
Mm.
she
Uh,
dated him
props to
very
Chris for
short."
knowing that.
I know, very short period of time, but that was after Joe. And so maybe that song is about him.
Oh.
It's like Antonio something.
Mm.
I don't remember. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting because he was a driver for Aston Martin. So like that
Uh,
could be very intentional
Oh.
on her end.
oh, good find.
I've never heard that theory before. That's actually a
Yeah, I
really
know.
great point.
I
Because it was
my
an
husband.
F1, wasn't it an F1 driver?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, so
Yeah.
wild.
So
Yeah, never
crazy.
thought of that.
What really tops off this album so well, this double album, is ending with the manuscript. It
Yeah.
is such a good
Yeah.
closure.
Yeah.
Yes.
She ties it all together with a bow and hands it over to us. And it's like she gets out all this pain and she hands it to us, and then she just kind of walks off into the sunset with Travis. And she seems so happy right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she really does. It's
It's
so
so cool.
beautiful.
It's so fun to
Mhm.
see.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for TS12.
Yes. Sooner rather than later, please.
Please.
I'm
If
ready
we're
for it
on
now.
track, if
What's
we're
all this
on track.
plaid and gingham we have going on here?
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh. Even just the
Waiting
other day
here.
when she was wearing it at the
Yeah.
tight end university, she was wearing plaid again.
And
I
that
know.
dress that she wore in New York, it was very faint, but it was
Oh, you're
pink.
right. It was like a tweed
Yeah.
woven
Hmm.
plaid. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
cute.
Travis has been wearing like matching, so
Uh-huh.
Oh, they're in on it together.
they're absolutely.
They're
And I'm
that couple.
For sure.
convinced it's an Easter egg somehow. And I'm like, does that mean that it's coming in fall? Does that mean you're actually
Oh.
like, if we're going with these, like, to me, that gives me fall vibes. But at the same time, she has proven that she doesn't necessarily like, she releases things on her own time. So
hmm
Hmm.
That is
we
true.
might be waiting for a while. We'll see.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are we gonna get debut or are we
Yeah.
gonna get
I am
vault
wondering about that.
tracks? We're gonna get a new album?
We
Like
need something.
I
we
have
don't
no idea.
know. We don't know. It's crazy. Well, Evie, thank you so much for
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
staying
been
up
so
till midnight
fun.
with us and doing this.
Yeah, hence the name. And I am like so like glad that I got to do this and nerd out with you guys about Taylor. My husband does not, understand the obsession. So I genuinely appreciate the safe space to nerd out.
Anytime.
We appreciate you. Well, will you stay with us through our little outro?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. We hope this episode made you feel like you're ready for it. Don't forget to leave a review. Your feedback never goes out of style. If you love what you heard, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who's gorgeous. Tune in next time for more great content. Until then, stay in your wildest dreams and have a fantastic day. Bye.
Bye.